One of the funniest movies I ever saw was the movie Blazing Saddles. This was way back in the 70s. Thinking back, I only remember a handful of scenes, especially the opening scene. Now, Cleveland Little had one of the starring roles in the movie, and he was playing a slave in this one scene. Now, it was funny because it was extremely stereotypical. You had slaves, you had Chinese slaves, and you had your black slaves. As it was, Cleveland Little was one of the slaves, and the slave driver and his workers couldn't understand why the black slaves weren't singing the railroad songs. Now, Cleveland Little is sitting there, well, I don't think I know that one. So before long, he conned the white slave drivers to start singing and clapping and dancing along, singing the railroad songs. As it was, the black guys were all sitting there laughing to themselves about it. Now, what was funny about it, they weren't laughing at the slaves, but they were laughing at the stereotype. I grew up in a very ethnically diverse city. And there were a lot of bigots in the city, so I heard it all. I heard all the comments, I heard all the words, I heard all the stereotypes. As I got older, I realized just how narrow-minded this way of thinking was, and I noticed something that they all had in common. That all of these people with this narrow-minded way of thinking, these bigots, were extremely angry people. In every conversation you had with them, all you could sense was anger. The hate was unbelievable. And it still goes on today. But as I got older, I realized just how ridiculous it was. There's another stereotype that I would like to add to the list. And that is that every Jehovah's Witness who leaves the organization is a drunken, sexually immoral, satanic drug addict. And we've all heard it. I heard it when I was in. And personally, I found it quite ridiculous at the time. And I think it's even more ridiculous today. But this is their way of thinking. And why? Because they hear it from their leaders. They hear it from Watchtower. And if you've noticed that the indoctrinated Watchtower Borg only repeats what they hear from their leaders, from Watchtower. They basically are minor birds. Their brains are turned off. So they don't think on their own. They have a very limited vocabulary. They have a very limited way of thinking, and they will not pull their heads out of the bubble to think on their own. I think by this point, we've all seen the Fat Man's videos. Now, he got under a lot of people's skin some months ago when he went on about Candace Conti. And we all retaliated. I called his fat ass out, and he still has a hard-on for me. Oh, well. But as time goes on, if you've noticed that each one of the Fat Man's uploads are getting more and more and more hostile. They're getting more aggressive. His anger is coming out more and more. To say that he's a happy person because he's one of Jehovah's Witnesses, no, he is not a happy person. He has a thing about going after all of us, and I think we all know it. We're all getting a laugh out of it now. How he can figure I'm a drunk and a drug addict when not even knowing me just because I commented about having a few beers. Obviously, the guy doesn't hear well. He quoted one of an earlier video I had done in December. How I was drinking some beers in the driveway and saw Candace Conti when she was a little kid. I have never met Candace Conti. But if he listened with his ears, instead of his big fat ass, he would have known that I was talking about a girl that lived in my neighborhood. But no, he had to turn it around because he doesn't hear. Fat man, you may want to get a cotton swab and clean all that waxy buildup out of your ears. You've got so much waxy buildup that a colony of bees could build a hive out of it. But as time has gone on, he's gone after each and every one of us. It's obvious he fantasizes about sexual immorality because he talks about it all the time. He doesn't like women. Obviously, he dedicated his last video against Marcia. The video prior to that, he was bashing the hell out of Amber. And he's always bashing Denise. Why? Because these are women he resents. He resents women in general because he's a complete failure with women. Face it, The guy takes off his shirt and women are going to laugh their asses off while they're running down the street. The guy hasn't gotten laid since he bought that Tinder girl in Los Angeles, and he realizes that that blow-up Susie doll of his isn't quite cutting it. But he resents these women. Why? Because they realized what this organization was, that it wasn't the truth, it was a lie, and they got out. But he's under the misconception that everyone who leaves the organization is an immoral drug addict and a drunk. Yeah, I drink beer. Doesn't make me a drunk. Daro, you don't have to know that. I know me better than you do. Everybody's probably wondering why I'm poking this piece of manure with a stick when all it's doing is aggravating him. Am I doing it intentionally? Yes, I'm doing it intentionally. Why? If you've watched his recent videos, he came out of the woodwork again, and he's bashing again. And each video he uploads, he's getting angrier and angrier, more hostile. If you look at Masha's last upload, you can see his comments to me. The guy is fantasizing about punching me in the face. I'm sure he would like to take a billy club and beat me to death with it. He's getting more and more hostile with every upload. I'm going to make one prediction, that his next upload is going to be a complete Vinny bashing. He's going to be even more angrier and more hostile. So why am I poking this piece of manure with a stick? So the world can see what goes through the heart of a completely indoctrinated Watchtower Borg. He's no longer preaching the incoming kingdom, if that's what he ever did. He is now bashing and attacking. No, Daro, you are not preaching the good news. You are bashing people. You are coming across hostile. And this is what the world is going to see out of your videos. And this is what the world is going to know about Watchtower, that they are completely indoctrinated, bigoted people. Anyways, guys, I'd love to hear your comments. And, yeah, I will talk to you soon, guys. You guys have a good day.